Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a beautiful rainy morning. It's August 17th, 10 a.m. This is the Village of Ruidoso and City of Ruidoso Downs, Ruidoso Wastewater Treatment Plant Joint Use Board. If I could have a roll call, please.
Yes, Chair Crawford,
Here.
Councilor Salas,
Here.
Mayor Holman,
Here.
Joey Jarvis,
Here.
Councilor Jackson. Here. All present, you have a quorum.
Okay. And could I get a motion for the approval of today's agenda, please?
Mr. Chairman, move for approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilor Jackson,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Councilor Salas,
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye. Is this your second meeting or first meeting?
Second meeting.
Okay, I guess everybody already knows you, but, so you know that Cornelius is gone, good riddance. And so now we're graced with the presence of Mayor Pro Tem.
Back on it again.
Yeah.
Let's just say it. I served before some
They refer
years.
to it as the shill. I'm not sure what they mean.
Yeah, we're not sure. Yeah, we're going to start with approval of with the regular items. Item number 1 is discussion and possible action on approval of the minutes, May 18th, 2022 regular meeting.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes from May 18th, 2022 as presented.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay,
Good to me.
roll call, please, ma'am.
Councilor Salas,
Aye.
Councilor Jackson,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Joey Jarvis. That sounds like a actor's name or a professional athlete. Are you a professional athlete? Item number 2, discussion and possible action on adoption of Resolution 2022-02, a resolution authorizing the Village of Ruidoso, New Mexico, as fiscal agent for the Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility to enter into a loan agreement with the New Mexico Environment Department for the purpose of obtaining project loan funds in the principal amount of $4,874,556 plus accrued interest, designating the use of the loan funds for a solar energy improvement project for the Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility, declaring the necessity for the loan and providing that the loan will be payable and collectible solely from the net revenues of the wastewater system. And that was a very long item, but it had to be worded specifically that way, we're told. It touches all the bases of all the required parties. So, Mr. Boyda.
Chair Crawford, board members. Myself, Joey Jarvis, Zach Cook, John Underwood met with NMED, and we all hashed out what was the best way to deal with the ordinance and resolution to identify the pledged revenues for this loan. And we came up with this decision that the Village of Ruidoso, as fiscal agent, passed an ordinance that just specified that, based on our revenues coming from both parties of the JUB, that we would pay for the loan based off those revenues. And this is the sister document. So this is the JUB through resolution basically agreeing for that and demonstrating that through the revenues from both parties, that these would go to the Village of Ruidoso to pay off the loan. So this would tie into the 75% split, and acknowledge that, however, if that gets modified, that's what the percentage would be for the repay period.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? And this is hopefully.
I do.
Okay, go ahead. Who was that?
This is Mary Castaneda, Finance Director for City of Ruidoso Downs.
Yes, Mary, go ahead.
I was just curious why it's 25% as opposed to the 15%.
I'm sorry, I meant 25. I meant the 15%. I apologize. I misspoke. Joey didn't catch me. He shook his head, so I was like, yeah, that's the right one.
I knew what you meant. I did too. I knew what you meant, so.
Okay,
Good catch, Mary.
so it's 8515.
Oh, okay, just as long as it's stipulated in the resolution is 8515.
It's not explicitly in the resolution. The resolution is just saying that, we'll pay our proportionate amounts. So that way, if it does change over time, that repayment would change also.
Well, Mr. Chairman, it's a.
Your microphone.
Mr. Chairman, it's a 30-year loan, is that correct?
So that hasn't been determined.
Determined.
It can be
Yeah.
up to a 30-year loan, and honestly, with the interest rate, it probably would be beneficial for us to take that full loan period, because it's got the 0.01% interest.
Which translates to about $487 a year, just for the record, per year.
Any other questions from anyone?
No, just as long as it's stipulated the 85.
It will be. Thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. We've only been working on this for about 6-7 years, and then when you're getting a 0.000 or whatever,
0.01.
yeah, 1, and then we finally moved through this, the discussions. It's almost nauseating to talk about it anymore. So if I could get a motion, please.
Yes, Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2022-02. Do I have to read the whole thing? I'm just reading it.
No,
Resolution.
I'm understanding if everyone else is of item number
Are
2.
we all understanding of Resolution 2022-02?
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Who was clear on the second?
I'll give it.
To Joey Jarvis?
Joey.
Okay, is there any final discussion from the board? Okay, roll call, please, Bertha.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
All right.
Thank you.
Item number 3, discussion and possible action on third renewal agreement with the Environmental Science Association. He's not here yet, is he?
I'll cover it.
Okay, you can fix it.
He's
Discussion and possible action on third renewal agreement with Environmental Science Associates, ESA, for professional services for environmental consultant to assist the wastewater treatment facility and joint use board. There he is. You a little wet?
Got stuck on Paradise.
And why did you get stuck on Paradise?
There was just that.
Because you weren't thinking. You weren't paying
Go
attention.
Go around,
Okay,
go around.
I know we've asked everybody on every medium that we have to please be aware and go around
Yes,
until
sir.
Friday. So, okay, I just wanted to make sure you knew about it. You just forgot about it. They had it closed? Oh, they did, right in front of Cattleberry?
Yes, sir.
Hope it wasn't bad.
Yeah. Yeah, we would have gone around, but.
Oh, okay, so
Yes, sir.
I'll retract my statement and apologize if I
No,
was.
no problem.
All right, it was good to see you here.
I'll get you a helo.
All right, you're up, buddy.
For my monthly?
No, for the ESA?
With renewal.
Oh, okay. So this is for Environmental Science and Associates, and this is for the Jim Good to change the designation from cold to cool. We're still in that. I haven't talked to him lately, so we'll see. This is just a renewal, so we'll see where it goes from here.
And I apologize, Chair Crawford, I had meant to reach out to Jim to see where we're sitting at. We had taken just a brief stop to the project while there was, NMED was going through their triennial review, and that was kind of all encompassing for their staff. And so we weren't able to get the support and questions answered, so Jim should have picked it up again, but I wasn't able to talk to him, so I apologize.
Okay. And does anybody need a cursory reminder on why we're trying to get the cold to cool? Okay, and so is this anything, okay, on the discharge, I thought that we were already moving in on that discharge permit. So it's not this is just, I know his contract, but we've already moved forward on the discharge permit?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
And that's, Moles and Corbin was awarded, and this helped us with that. We're in the draft period for comments, and so everything should be good. The limits didn't
Didn't change?
For
Yes,
the-
sir.
The major limits, there's some additional ones that Isaac's testing for.
Okay. And that all ties together in the big scheme of things, but since that permit's already moved forward, Mr. Good and his group have been working on that for all this time, answering things, so. Third renewal, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Isaac,
Yes, sir.
again, remind me of the stretch of river that we're talking about. Of moving
That
it.
would be all of the Rio Doso.
All of it, right?
When did Eric, even from the top to the,
So, in the analysis, it showed that the stretch from kind of like the Hollywood gauge down to the Highway 70 bridge by the plant also wouldn't meet the criteria for cold water fishery, but, NMED basically recommended don't try to break apart the segments. And so, we would not be pursuing to change that designation from Hollywood down to the bridge. So
Okay,
the bridge is a hard break, so it'd be downstream of the bridge. in
Of
front
the
Isaac's
bridge.
plant.
And the upper would still be cool, cold.
Yes, even though it might not meet the criteria, it's just, it's extra hurdle that we don't.
Need to
try
jump.
Overcome.
because I read, man, just history, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor Holman, but that stretch used to be from Freedom Bloom Bridge to the track bridge way back in the 70s, 80s, because we'd fish there. I remember when all this changed up, and I was against it. I was Parks Director then and saying, no, we don't need to do this, and I didn't realize what the impact was for the treatment plant when that was decided to do that.
I think
So-
you're recalling that correctly.
Because that, you had your stamp habitat, I forgot what it was to go fishing down there, but I know that's what it was originally designated. But maybe I'll do my homework, because that's what I was hoping we were going back to, just that little segment that it was originally set up. But if it's going from the Hollywood Bridge all the way down to 70,
Nope, so the Highway 70 bridge in front of the treatment plant downstream is the section that we would be proposing to be.
Cool.
cool water, right? So I was wanting it more up, so.
And yeah, that criteria does meet, it's just, we would be dissecting a existing reach, and that would require a whole nother study, a whole bunch more paperwork that
Okay.
we just shouldn't pay for as
Right.
the joint use board.
Right.
Question, sir. So then, after the bridge there by the treatment plant, after that, then the restrictions lessen? Or there are no restrictions on the river then after that?
Well, it's not really restrictions, it's about what is the highest attainable use. And so the cool water fishery, or cool water fishery designated use has lower dissolved oxygen limits and has higher temperatures. So if those thresholds were crossed, it wouldn't be impaired.
Thank you.
And just how the plant is able to operate on the levels, because once you get through with us, it doesn't matter to anybody else downstream. They don't hold anybody else accountable for anything.
They wouldn't, Chair Crawford, they wouldn't, Isaac's limits wouldn't reduce with this, it's just they wouldn't try to push further, so.
Higher ones.
Isaac has the same limits proposed on this current draft permit, and if we can just hold them there, we can feel confident that Isaac can meet those.
and there was no way that I would ever pollute the river or, I would never lower my standards of operations at the facility.
No, I mean, that's the point, is that in the future with the cold water designation, that they can make it even tighter to get the requirements that are out there right now. That's what we've always been
Yes, sir.
looking for, so, okay. Does anybody else have any questions? If not, can we get a motion?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve third renewal agreement with Environmental Science Associates, CSA, for professional services for environmental consultant to assist the Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility and Joint Use Board.
Second.
Final discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Mayor Holman.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Now we'll move to the discussion of possible action on change order number 3 with Smithco Construction, Inc., requesting an extension of time of 22 calendar days to November 14th, 2022, and changing contract price from P&M to Smithco Construction, Inc., the amount of $18,663.67 from the electrical line item. Yes, sir.
Chair Crawford, members of the board. So this is kind of a two-part change order, kind of wrapped up in one. The first part of it is the hot box, which controls the heat tape that goes across the Sleepy Hollow Bridge. It was moved because of the lift station being moved over a little bit. So there was a location change for the hot box. And that was, the Smithco's actually asking for 4 additional days for this, and $461. I don't have it exactly in front of me, but it's not actually an addition to their contract. There was already a line item identified for the electrical service on both lift stations. And then going into the second piece of this, for the $18,100 and 18 days, that is also, P&M was supposed to take the power from the pole down to Circle Lift Station to the control box. And being that, when P&M engineered it, the meter was supposed to be hung on the control box itself. Now, I guess things have changed with engineering. Now they're wanting to set a pole, and I said, absolutely not. So they're putting the meter actually up on Main Road on the pole. And Smithco will be doing the trenching down to the electrical on the box at Circle Lift Station. That is an additional 22 days also. And again, that was actually there's a line item in there. It's not actually additional funds added to the contract. It's just
Moving the,
paying Smithco instead of P&M.
okay. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, if we can get a motion, please.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve change order number 3 with Smithco Construction, Inc., requesting an extension of time of 22 calendar days to November 14, 2022, and change in contract price from P&M to Smithco Construction, Inc. in the amount of $18,663.67 from electrical line item.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Chair Crawford,
Aye.
Mayor Holman,
Aye.
Joey Jarvis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We're still doing good on Gavilan? That's where you're going to head out to right now? Okay, thank you. Item number 5, the monthly report on the regional wastewater treatment plant. Isaac Garcia, you're up again, buddy.
Mayors and councilors, good morning once again. So the plant's been doing really well. I know by looking at the rain uptown that we will see a slug in about 30 more minutes or so, because it takes a good hour. I know when it's raining uptown, I'll see there's still infiltration. A lot of it has gotten fixed, but I know, I'm not sure where it's still possibly getting in, but it's somewhere up here. But we'll get a few extra 100,000 gallons. So on the norm, we'll be treating about 1.8 to 2 million gallons during peak flow around noon or so. From 10 to 2 is our peak flow. So around noon, we'll be getting about 2 million gallons. With this rain, we will be getting about close to 3 million gallons during the rain event. But most of that rain will get diverted to our equalization basins, where I can treat it later on tonight or tomorrow during the week, so that it doesn't impact the plant at all. I can see that, the effluent is pretty comparable to last year. We did have some rain last year, so we treated 1.69 this month, the exact same as last year, so pretty comparable. Any questions on the plant at all? We're still meeting permit. We haven't had any violations, even though the one violation we did have was during a rain event like this, because it does dilute out the facility and therefore dilute the bugs out. that do the biological nitrogen removal. So we are prepared for that, and we're adding a chemical called Micro C, which is a carbon source, a sugar-based, to compensate for that dilution factor. That way we don't have any kind of violations that could possibly happen. We've got
And what is the carbon C,
Micro C?
macro C, what is that geared for exactly? It's not bacterial?
It's a sugar. It's basically food for the bugs.
Okay,
Because what happens is the rain dilutes the food for the bugs. I'm sorry.
okay, yeah, okay. And then but is that primarily for the bacteria or you said for the oxygen?
It's for the bacteria that remove the nitrogen biologically.
Nitrogen biology.
Yes, sir. And that's where we fail whenever we do fail during big rain events. So we do have that on hand, and we do introduce it to the system. That way we can eat permit 365 days a year. You know, just like today, good operators know that it will get diluted. Even though we're not going to be sampling for a few more weeks, we try to, keep
Stay ahead of it, huh?
Yes, keep in compliance all the time. We don't try to, do anything that we shouldn't be doing. So we do prepare, and we do put that chemical in. It's really not a chemical. It's a sugar base. So it's not a chemical like alum for
A
phosphorus removal.
biological, it's a biological enhancement.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, sir.
So you're going to feed the bug to get the bug.
Yes, sir.
And so your trend line will remain pretty stable.
Yes, it will.
I mean, the question that comes to my mind is, you just said we almost double water intake
Yes, sir.
during the rain, so that's a significant leak. So we don't have anywhere, even after going to the sewer line and repairing the sewer line, we still have no idea? Is that a manhole cover or?
It could be anything like that, but I know there's still a breach somewhere. I've noticed that that it has improved. It has improved, but there's still somewhere that it is getting in. I think Eric might have mentioned somewhere.
Off of Gavilan Canyon?
Because I thought we slip lined
Well,
everything
we
in
did.
that's in the river.
Yeah.
Chair Crawford, I'm sure given that since most of the flows happen because of directly when rain is happening, it's likely coming from manholes all over town. So if you got a manhole that's just a little bit below grade of the road, if the road is running in there, it's all gonna wanna go into that manhole and drain in. So it's likely that there might be some other opportunities for I&I on stream crossings, but since we have a reduction in the base flows into the system, we feel that we're addressing the I&I on the base flows in the rivers. It might just be this additional rainwater.
And I know the Downs is solid because it can rain at my house, and I don't see any kind of true influx of I&I, but it is uptown, and it could be just a rogue manhole that possibly pops or backs up possibly, or something.
I always thought the manholes had those bowls in it, what I recall. I mean,
They
back when
used to.
Rudy Lugo was here, that was something that he made sure that all our manholes had those, which it would prevent. It was, pretty hard.
Catch basin.
A catch basin that just sat right under the cover, and it was just a little bowl, so that when this would happen, at least a lot of it would, or not a lot of it, some of it would still get in, but at least it would prevent from
Yes,
more.
sir.
So we don't have that program anymore, do you know, or?
There's some of them. I mean, I've seen them in some spots. I'm not sure if they're everywhere. So
I've seen them on the main interceptor a lot. Because Rudy and him, unfortunately, at some point, they went in and put those in, and then they tarred the lid shut. Which made it impossible for us to open.
To
the
get
lids.
them in there and
We lost
stuff.
some I&I there, but it made it really hard on us to deal with.
Okay.
That might be something, but it'd be so hard to maintain those that basically somebody'd be doing that all the time with the amount of moisture we have,
Yes, sir.
trying to dump them out.
Yep.
I think you're right. You probably have I&I, and I'm sure we have a little, and, because there's manholes that are below grade, so the water runs to them, and it's just metal on metal, and they just seep in all the time.
Right, I knew that, so.
That's a lot of seeping.
It is, it is.
And I'm not gonna point the finger at we don't know what happens on the tribe as well. Like I say, I'm not trying to call anybody
Sure,
out.
I
but
understand,
we don't-
but it's obviously, because that's a lot more treatment, a lot more this, a lot more that, that I thought that maybe we had figured that out, but it sounds like that maybe we've eliminated a lot of areas.
We have,
Maybe we still need to focus on those areas that we can see, because that's the first time in all the years I've been on this JUB that I've heard that number, that high.
It's really high.
Isaac, is there a way to test for INI coming in from Palmer Loop and stuff?
could you
I thought we had a meter there.
no, I don't, that's out of our jurisdiction.
So-
I think,
Is there a way to test?
Offered, Board Member Jarvis. So the village is gonna be doing an INI study with Moles and Corbin. We're gonna be presenting it to the next council meeting. And so that will help some of the upper part of the system. And I will express that concern to Clayton and Casey Cook about, is there some way for us to do maybe a longer-term study to look at precipitation events? So I will bring that up with them.
That would be good. But I thought we had a meter measuring what's coming off the reservation.
I think.
I mean, you could do a comparison of, record what
raining.
rainy
See
days
what their
are
bills
and kind of start tracking that, at least on that part.
Yeah, because that's just real concerning. I thought we would be way further down the road on that.
Yes, sir. That's it's a mountain community with ups and downs.
Sure,
and
but
yeah.
You would think with all the money and construction, yes, sir. But it's nothing that we can't handle. We're handling it, and
well, that's good news.
yes,
for
sir.
sure.
We're able to. We still have the capacity to handle that, and we have the chemical on site. We're prepared for anything that can come our way. Not anything,
Right.
Most. As long as this don't go on for a month straight.
Right.
But something that you'd said is that it's like 1.8. And then when I'm looking at your report on 2022, like your averages in July were 1.44.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yes.
Okay, so is it?
So
yeah,
that's the
there-
influent, right?
Yes, well, that's the flows, millions of gallons per day influent,
Yes, sir.
yes.
And like I said, that's only for a few hours, for as long as the.
Because you were saying your high point's 1.8, and then your average is out at 1.4.
Yes, sir.
And-
It all kind of averages out. Those 3 million gallons that come in are only for a few hours usually.
Uh-huh.
So it doesn't really jack that number up too bad. But you can see where it really didn't rain at all in 2020, where it was 1.31. And that's just coming into the facility, so it kind of matches what's going out of the facility. And we did track why there's a little bit more water, effluent than what's coming in. We found out between me and a representative from Molson and Corbin that a lot of it is from our wash water that we are using to run our fine screens, as well as our sludge press and gravity belt thickener.
So that's what it is, the water you're adding to it to clean the stuff up.
Is what's not getting, it's getting measured, it's adding to that.
So that's
percentage.
200,000 gallons a day,
Yes, sir.
average. I mean, I'm just ballparking.
Per month, yes, sir.
For a month, I'm sorry, yes, a month. Okay,
Because that was always the mystery question, how can we be adding water?
yeah,
But that is,
That's
what
where
we
it came
came
from.
up with is, it's the fine screens because it pulls water from our effluent so it's basically adding flow to the water leaving.
okay. Okay,
Any other questions? As far as fog goes, so the travel center has been non-detectable the last few times that we've gone, and I'm just thinking that probably the restaurant's probably closed at that time. So we might, I've been saying this, but maybe switch it up and maybe get it somewhere else. The Palmer Loop was 43.1, and the End of the Mountain Gods was 23.6 on fats, oils, and greases. So, not too bad, considering.
Isaac, what is it? Does it cost a lot more to treat your water when it's high in the fog?
Well, what it does is, it actually, adds foam to our facility and, actually gets into the filters and puts a film on them. Now, thank God that the collections department does come out and they do, remove a good majority of it weekly and put it in our drying beds, but the higher that number it is, the more does get to the facility, and once it gets to those aerations, it's so warm in there that it does emulsify and get incorporated into the wastewater, causing foam in, as a result of that, fog.
Yeah.
So that being said, Chairman, just for myself and Mayor Holman to understand, from what I understand, the tribe are they a normal commercial customer of the
Yes.
village? We should talk about that sometime.
Well, and we've been talking about having liaison with, up there about, over the last few years, we've been able to get them to put grease traps in, making sure that they're serviced. But we always, as you can see, Palmer Lupin,
That's
do
what I was
you
looking
still have that graph on here that shows,
Yes, it's under the fog results of there's the Apache Travel Center, there's the Palmer Loop.
yeah,
And you can see they've been way worse, that 145, 136 was kind of ridiculous.
very
but,
last page.
Well, I just think that if they're costing more to treat the system, then maybe there needs to be
Well, and
a
we've,
different rate or a different structure.
and we have broached that subject, and that's why we're trying to, and they've come along with adding grease traps and then showing inspections, and then we've worked with the companies, I'm not going to name the names, but you all know who they are, that do the clean outs of the grease traps and all that stuff to make sure that that is being done. But again, we still have issues, and it may be with timing, as he just described with the travel center 00. That didn't make sense.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And so it could be timing when we're taking it or whatever. So we've got to be, maybe move those times around or collection areas around.
Yes, sir.
So, but you're absolutely right, because the fats, oil, and grease, just like in all the restaurants in town, we have inspectors that go around. I forgot his name.
Chuy Lopez.
Chewy goes around, does the inspections, make sure the grease traps and we check the records to make sure they're keeping records of when it's cleaned out, what they're doing. And then we have the Vector truck that goes through the Midtown area and make sure that we pull any globs or whatever out that we can get so it doesn't get to the plant. But we have tried to implement that with the tribe, but, we have a lot of hurdles that we're slowly working through, but we have discussed rates if there's not more, I don't want to use the word compliance, but understanding and appreciation for what we're having to deal with at the plant.
Okay.
So we will keep on that. Adam left, but he has a guy there he deals with that we've been able to make some things happen.
Good.
So we don't have to go through the rigmarole that everybody understands.
Right.
So anyway, but we are working on it. It's a great point. And sometimes we just have to, use every aspect that we can if we have connections there to get those things done and get it into compliance, or we'll have to make a rate change.
Thank you.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
Yeah, I kind of do. This triggered all of a sudden something I'm wondering about with this cannabis stuff, and I understand it requires a lot of water.
Yeah, and I'm actually not worried about the water. I'm actually a little bit more worried about the nutrients that they use, because I know that they use a lot of nitrogen and phosphorus, and we are a nitrogen and phosphorus facility. That's our main TMDL from the EPA. I haven't seen anything weird, but we'll just have to be on the lookout for that.
Well, I'd like to, if you definitely keep me informed on that, because as we're proceeding with our stuff with it, I'd like to know if I need to change something.
Okay, yes, sir.
And one of the things, and the manager, he's in the audience now, but with all the permits, everything is just a retail, so there's not really production or grow that I'm aware of.
Chair Crawford, there's one grower operation that's being built on Gavilan Canyon next to that repair shop.
That's what that is?
I believe.
It's just the foundation setup forms?
But I'm not sure that they have sewer or not.
Okay. Because most of these, if they're on city water, village water, it would reflect we'd see it in their usage or rate, but they have to make sure that if they got a grow license to get their permitting, they have to show that they're tied up to municipal water, that the municipality has agreed to it. And then if it's not, and they have their own water wells and water rights, that they have to prove that up to make sure they have the capability to do those. So if there's production in town, we should know about it. Because right now, I don't know of any production. I just know of resale.
And I didn't look at the application myself, but I just heard that, so
I wondered what that was over there.
that's my understanding. But if we're wrong, I'll have Adam talk to you guys about
Okay.
it.
So it's not a very big building. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Anything else from the manager? Staff doing good, okay?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
I'm actually gonna have an interview on Friday for one of our gentlemen that moved to the water
That's what I
production.
was gonna ask, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Frank, he
Yep.
moved to the water production, so he's gonna be a tough one to fill, but hopefully we get some good applicants.
Okay, and I keep bringing this up because it's happening in different departments all over Village. We have people that are retiring,
Yep,
and so Manager Isaac here, he's got a couple more years, unless he buys another new Harley Davidson, and then maybe he'll have to stay a few more years. So, we're always looking at getting quality people, training them, because it's not an easy job. I mean, he's a scientist, doing what he does and his staff, and so we need to look at, it's not just him, but the other folks that are in there, so that through attrition, we have people that are prepared and ready. Because I remember it wasn't that many years ago, we didn't have any level 3s or 4s, and we were all scrambling. Now then we have some, so we just need to be aware of that and start looking at how we're gonna move forward.
And we'll get it staffed.
And not that we're in any hurry, I promise you. It's just that these things, you put them off as long as you can, and then you think you got it going good, then Rodney turns in his retirement paperwork.
Right.
So then that's what we're looking at. So anyway, thank you for what you do, for what y'all do.
Yes, sir.
Keeping us running clean so that when we can talk to the folks in the valley, we speak with confidence, and also we have the transparency of the paperwork and
Always.
the testing and everything to back up what we're saying. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chairman, Isaac,
Oh, yes, sir.
I like your run charts, always have, on the fog results, and we break them out by the three major ones. But I think one recommendation I would make is that they tell us the numbers, but we really know that our goal is 20. And if we can put a red line through our goal, then it kind of it highlights what's going on and where the trends up are quickly and not down, and how many are really compliant and aren't. Total.
Okay, that sounds great. We'll have that on the next manager's report.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for the manager? None? Okay, do we have any reports from any board members? Counselor Jackson?
None here, sir.
Joey Jarvis?
Nothing here.
I don't really have anything.
speaking about the fog and stuff, I just wanna maybe do another campaign to remind people of, it's been a while since I've heard it personally. Of course, you know, I don't pour the grease down the drain anymore because I'm adapted to it, but
Yes.
because there's always the turnover of vacationers and stuff, and remind the, you know, just the people that, hey, we don't throw your grease down the drain. That might give a little bit of help. It might be a smidgen, but again, just alerting people, if we,
What we can do is, Isaac, the managers back there, is we'll get with the nightly rental group
that's what I was
and
more
have them
thinking
post
of.
that with all the management companies and those two, and come up with some literature. Because people, they do ask me, you know, they save the grease, what do I do with it? It's in the old coffee can, in the old, you know, green
Yeah.
bean can. You throw it in the dumpster.
Right.
And so after it's done, so, and you try to wipe out any of your dishes with a paper towel and put it in the trash. So that's a good idea. We can,
Just kind of
We'll,
put the word out again. I know it's at the end of the season, but it's always good, maybe twice a year, just to remind at the beginning and middle, something. But
Okay.
anyway, that's all I have.
Mayor?
Nothing.
Nada? Okay, and we do not, that concludes the end of the agenda for today. There's no closed session, so with no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chairman.
Oh, man, that's been blowing me up.
Recording stopped.
I had a question for you. So I talked to my sewer guys the other day and I said, y'all are checking in with Isaac when you dump our Vector, right? And they said, no.
They just come in,
Do you want them to come?
no, they're doing just fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure with you because
They're good, and
sometimes they don't follow by rules.
no, and they're perfect, as long